My name is Mick Rigby. I run an agency called Yodel Mobile. We're a full-service mobile marketing agency, end-to-end stuff. As James said, we've been around for a very long time. We launched in 2007 before the iPhone launched, and the mobile marketplace has obviously changed quite dramatically since those very early days. I was asked yesterday to put something together which hopefully would have been interesting and exciting for you guys. So what I've tried to do is amalgamate perhaps 9-10 years of working in the mobile marketing space and try and condense it into a handful of charts in a 15-minute presentation. And one of the things that really I think is always really worth remembering is that we don't want to run before we walk, and I think there's a massive challenge holding back in the mobile space when you're marketing, trying to acquire users, because you develop a fantastic app or you've got a wonderful mobile property, and as a consequence of that you just want to get it out, you want to get it in front of people as soon as possible. And the biggest challenge is actually holding back and taking a sensible look at the mobile marketing space, because if you don't do it properly, you can obviously be wasting an awful lot of money. And what I wanted to do is actually try and put things in context today before I talk about some of the leave behinds that I'm going to talk about. These are Google stats, so I'm always a little bit wary when Google talks about search stats, because obviously they're the biggest search engine in the world, but nearly a quarter of all people find apps through search engines, whether that be online or whether that be on their mobile devices. In addition to that, nearly 50% of people actually find new apps by searching through the App Store. So the point I'm trying to make here is it's really important to make sure your ASO, your App Store optimization, your visibility in the App Store, as well as your visibility in the search space on a mobile device is very high. And search is actually changing and evolving quite rapidly in mobile. I love this stat. I don't know if you can see it at the back there, but from a standing start from about 3 years ago, where it was 0, there's now 50 billion voice searches on mobile devices every month. And I mean, obviously that's a huge number, but we're still at the genesis of what the voice search is going to be in the mobile space. And it's going to become more and more important. So as a consequence of that, new elements and new areas of development from a search point of view have to be taken into account when you're in the mobile and app marketing space. In addition to that, so you've got lots of search going on, as we're all aware. Advertising on mobile and the effectiveness of advertising on mobile is not as strong as it used to be. We've got things like ad blockers coming in and obviously causing ruptures in the way that the ad world has actually worked. But being smart about how you actually get discovery is actually really important. And once you've been discovered, it's really important as well to be aware that once your app is actually on a mobile device, that user has only given you the right to actually have a bookmark on their mobile phone. It doesn't mean that that individual is actually going to be an ongoing user of your service. So as a consequence of that, there's a massive drop-off when people have actually downloaded your app. There tends to be. Now this is a really interesting stat. 3/4 of the people that have actually downloaded an average app actually drop off within the first 3 days. We started working with a client about 6-12 months ago, who, when we got into the back end of what they were actually doing, they were spending an awful lot of money on user acquisition, and we were finding that over the course of a 4-week period, 95% of their users had actually dropped off. So they were only retaining 5% of their users after a 4-week period. So if you're not careful, your users can drop off a cliff. In addition to that, this is a stat that might have already been used today, but nearly a quarter of all apps are actually opened only once. So it's not all doom and gloom. There are ways and means of actually getting to these users, to retain those users and ensure they become engaged and ongoing users. As you can see, push messaging is a great way of doing that. If it's done properly, you can actually triple the amount of your retention using push messaging. I don't know if you can see this as well. I love this. This is a Clash of Clans user called James Bond, who was actually attacking your village. It always makes me smile when I present this, because you can imagine if James Bond was attacking your village, you certainly wouldn't want to be in that village. You'd get the hell out of there, wouldn't you? But it's also great news in that we're getting about 50,000 apps are actually downloaded every minute of every day. So there is obviously a big marketplace for the app user. But the point I wanted to make today, if you take away anything from any of the charts that I put in front of you, is that there's two really important elements of app marketing, and that is ensuring that your app is discoverable and ensuring that you retain those users. So you need to be targeting the individuals that actually want your service through organic means, and you want to be targeting the people that would need your service through paid for means. And the two go hand by hand. They go in hand by hand. The question is, how do you do that? Well, we've developed a program and a process, some of which I'm going to share with you today, and see if you can spot what we call it. A bit of graffiti there. I don't know if you can make out that word. A number 2 and a marketplace. Yeah, we've devised a program called Fit to Market. And what that program is a number of deliverables that most app businesses need to be implementing before they put their hands in their pocket to actually spend on mobile advertising. I'm not going to talk you through the whole program today, but I've pulled out 9 key things that I wanted to share with you. And the first, and this to many may be common sense, but you'd be surprised how many businesses that we talk to that really don't actually understand the user. It's not the people that actually think they should be targeting, but the people that are actually utilising their app. So we always advise digging under the skin of the opportunity and looking at maybe quantitative research, and certainly user research within app to understand who those users are. And the second thing to think about is obviously understanding the marketplace. There's so much investment in every single sector of mobile, the mobile categories, that you guys can glean and take away and use for yourself. There's a lot of big spenders out there that you can utilise the learning. You need to understand the sentiment of what other apps or what users are thinking of other apps. You need to be understanding how often those competitors of yours are actually updating their app. And you need to see what developments they're doing and utilise them yourselves. Again, we talked about audience. We talked about audience in general, the people that you should be targeting. It's really also, it's really important to understand where your users are coming from, whether that's advertising and search, what channels they're coming from. You need to be understanding what they're actually doing within your app itself, how long they're spending the app, what functionality they're utilising, and where they're going once they've actually utilised that functionality. And then, equally as important, both of that is actually taking that data and being able to use it from a targeting and advertising perspective. So being able to create cohort groups to understand what those individuals are doing and create communications to those individuals through CRM strategy or paid for advertising is going to be something that you really need to be focusing on. So make sure that you've actually got the right analytic tools and you can actually use them properly within your application. ASO, I'm sure there's been a number of people on the stage today talking about ASO. 3 or 4 years ago it was the brand new thing. Now it's a really important hygiene factor. You have to get your App Store optimization correct. And in addition to that, your mobile searchability. This is an app pack. I'm sure some of you have actually seen them. If you go to Chrome on your mobile now and you search for a function, what we put in there, I think that's, what have we got there? I think that's a TV, live TV search. What happens is obviously you get, in this instance, a number of apps actually surfacing. We're going to see a lot more of this kind of activity over the next few years, so ensuring that your app is in a good position to actually facilitate through mobile searchability is again something important that you should be looking to do. The sixth thing I wanted to talk to you about briefly was deep linking. And this is the ability of actually having a digital link that somebody clicks on, it actually takes you to the app, but into the app itself. So if somebody's searching for a holiday in New York and you've got a holiday app, they click on that banner, it actually takes them into the app in the holiday booking page. Again, really important in terms of shortening the journey, the consumer journey into the app itself. The seventh thing I wanted to talk about was actually securing the best reviews you possibly can for your app. I can't stress enough how important the reviews are within the App Store listing. It's important for two reasons. One, the consumer, when they've actually gone to the app listing themselves, and if they see a 1 or 2 star, only 15% of them are actually going to download your app. If they see a 4 or 5 star review, 95% of them are going to be downloading your app. So if you're spending money and you're not actually maintaining those reviews to ensure that they are positive reviews, then you're going to get an awful lot of wastage. The other side of the fence as well is the algorithms. If you have volumes of reviews and good 4 or 5 star reviews, you're going to be surfacing higher up the App Store rankings and you're going to be more discoverable on the App Store. So maintaining and looking after your users and encouraging them to give you good reviews is something you really need to be looking at. And getting people to accept push messaging. Again, it never ceases to surprise me. Is when I open up an app for the first time, the first thing I see is a little grey box asking me if I'm prepared to accept messages from the user. I don't even know what the product is yet. I've never used it. So making sure that you actually onboard those individuals at the right time for them to accept push messaging is something you really, again, should be looking to try and do. And then finally, mobile CRM. We talked about discoverability and we talked about retention. I would say, and I'm from an advertising background, that the time, effort, energy, thought space and potentially budget that you spend within acquisition should also be spent on user retention. They're your most valuable asset and they've already come to your app and downloaded it and they've started using it. So having a strong, focused, segmented MCRM strategy on the back of your app, again, is something that you should be looking to do. So we're pretty much there now. My single piece of advice to anybody looking at apps and app marketing is that if you undertake a number of those things that we've actually said, then and only then should you consider actually putting your hand in your pocket and spending on mobile advertising. And that's it, that's me. Contact details are there around later if anybody wants to have a chat. Thank you very much.